Hello everyone, Latoya here with your Little Crystals, the place where we talk about all things modern spirituality. And today we're going to be talking about a particular aspect of someone's birth chart. So because of my last video that I sent out amongst my friends, family, as well as social media, I got this question from someone and I thought that it would be a great video because it just goes to show you how detailed your birth chart can be. Don't fret if you are an astrological newbie and you're like, what? Definitely stay tuned because I will be breaking down everything for you. And if you want your personalized birth chart read so that you can see how you can get deeper into your spiritual gifts in 2019 and beyond, definitely look in the description box because I have a listing in my shop now for your personal birth chart to be read. With that being said, today we're going to be talking about an aspect where the moon is square to Pluto. And I know you're probably like, what? What does that mean? Exactly. So we're going to break down what does the moon mean in your chart? What does something square mean in general? And what is Pluto in astrology? We're going to be talking about what characteristics does someone have if their moon is square to Pluto? And finally, the main question that this person asked me was, what can I do with this to help enhance my spiritual gifts and kind of coach me into my spiritual gifts? Just so you know, I will say, I don't believe that there's any right or wrong in life or good or bad. I believe there's only the truth. And I think I'm saying this because this aspect, it is deemed throughout astrology as something that can be perceived as dark, right? And when you think about lightness and dark, you think about yin and yang, and you think about the fact that you have to embrace the light within the dark and vice versa, right? Because the dark pushes you towards the light and the light helps you to embrace the dark. And it's something that is you need both, right? Life is not about being airy, fairy, love, and light all the time. Sometimes you have to be a messy human, and that's the best part about who you can be sometimes in certain moments. So with that being said, let's get straight into it. What is the moon in spirituality? So the moon is the feminine symbol. So I will refer to her as she. She is all about rhythm and time. She embodies the cycle. Think about like your menstrual cycle. Some women actually follow the lunar cycle. Around that time, you're very intuitive, you're very psychic, you are almost like immortal, and you're just eternal. You have this enlightenment within yourself as it pertains to nature as well. Very, very youthful, enchantment, purity, just all about femininity. Again, intuition, psychic, creativity, and wisdom. All things that it is to be a woman. This is the reason why being a woman and having your connection to your divine feminine is so powerful, because you need these things to live in this world, especially since it's so masculine driven nowadays. So what does it mean for something to be square? Square is an aspect. So it's a special angle where the planets and other horoscope points are about 90 degrees apart from each other. So the classical astrology meaning for square is the powers are involved are in conflict with each other, so that can cause trouble for one another. So as you can imagine, like the moon is square to something, like, oh God. So this divine, feminine, creative, intuitive, psychic thing is in opposition to something. That means there's a little bit of a struggle. What could that possibly be? Well, in this case, we're talking about Pluto. So who is Pluto in astrology? So in astrology, Pluto and the energies of Pluto is very transforming. So it deals with like subconscious forces and like below the surface. So I think about like as above, so below, right? With the Kabbalion and that rule within the Kabbalion, or principle, I should say. So the upside of Pluto is going to be renewal and rebirth. So life, death, rebirth, right? So the negative expression is going to be the obsessive desire for power and control and the general destructiveness. So I think about kind of the devil, right? And I think about him being an angel in heaven, and then that obsessiveness that he got with wanting to be in control and take over landed him in hell, which is a form of death, right? So again, don't think about this from a traditional Christian perspective, because I'm not Christian. I'm just saying it as if it was a story. Not saying that it's not true, but I'm just saying like that's the example that I think about in my head. So now that you understand exactly what the moon is, what square means, so again, She is very divine feminine, very intuitive, very psychic, and square means she's in opposition to something. Like there could be a little bit, conflict there. And the conflict can be with Pluto, which can be life, death, and rebirth, right? On the upside, it's very about renewal and rebirth, and on the downside, it's about obsessive desire for power. So let's get into what someone's life is like that has this, right? So I came across this amazing article on Tumblr. Actually, yes, I like Tumblr. And yes, I believe the people on Tumblr because I'm still on Tumblr. I have a secret blog up there that no one will ever know about and that I kind of love because I feel like Tumblr is a place where I can just go and be myself and express myself and not be judged for who I am. It is, to me, one of the most safest places to be myself on the World Wide Web. With that being said, I came across this amazing article. Mercury Sharmanus. I will put it below. Her name is Cassandra. So thank you for this. I will link the article below. But she just talked about how she has this aspect within her chart and what life is like for her. She described it as being bittersweet, and you experience in the bitter first because it's an everyday struggle for her to balance her mind and her emotions and the undercurrents of her unconscious mind with each other. What did we just talk about, right? So like the mind and the emotions, that's dealing with the moon, and then the undercurrents. So think about the ocean, right? Everything is fine whenever you're with the current, but when you're going against the current and then you get drug underneath to the coral reef and the dangerous parts of the ocean, that is what you're referring to on the darker side of Pluto, right? And the unconscious. So it can be, like she mentioned, as a dark abyss, right? It's just a ton of obstacles to deal with where you have to overcome hardships, and though overcoming those hardships does make you feel stronger than ever. However, some people, of course, get tired of taking those punches. So what do? They become either really, really mean and angry and hateful to the world, or they may even kill themselves, because it's just when you feel so deeply and you're not able to really express yourself in a way that you want to, because you're not understanding, why do I feel this deeply? Why should I care? And it's because you don't know that this is an aspect of who you are within your birth chart, and this is just written in your DNA. So instead of looking at it as a negative thing, realize that, confront it in the sense like, oh, so this is why I feel this way. This is a part of who I am. Where do I go from here? How do I move forward in a positive way? So here, there's a quote that says, yet in the horoscope of soul-centered individuals who have this ambition and configuration, Moon square Pluto gives one a never-ending desire for search, purification, and refinement. In effect, the aspect becomes a continuous motivating drive for betterment. It also yields an understanding of human weakness. As a result, it is the vehicle for development of compassion, and in quality sorely lacking when the moon squares Pluto in the horoscope of a personality-centered individual. So basically, the negative side could be like jealousy, envy, hate, vengeance, all of that, because it's kind of like, I'm jealous that you have your ish together because you are not emotionally unstable, such as I can be sometimes, because I don't understand why I feel so deeply. And that could cause you to want to wreck someone's life, because it's like, I want you to feel the drama that I feel on a day-to-day basis. So the positive side to that, or the flip side to that, could be, because you have these deep feelings, you're constantly wanting to improve that muscle and strengthen yourself, right? So you begin resilience, you begin to get stronger because of all the things that you're going through, right? So this person actually wrote about her day-to-day experience, and I'm going to again link it below so that you can see that. Cafe Astrology did an amazing job of breaking down what it would be to have your moon square or opposition to Pluto. And so I want to go over that now, because I think that they did a magnificent job of kind of like bringing it all together. And they also broke it down for what it would be like for a woman in that. And so a woman did ask me this question, so I will be highlighting that portion as well. So the biggest lesson that they had was learning to accept your emotions for what they are, and more importantly, to express them in a manner that allows others in rather than scare them away is an important challenge for your life. So because you feel so deeply, right, with this aspect, you either are going to do one thing, like keep it to yourself and be extremely closed off and guarded and people can't even read you, or you're going to be a chatterbox, like, oh my God, I feel this, oh my God, and then what I thought about with this, I thought about like the dark side of being an empath. Like, I think that's what I think about a person like that, like where you just feel so deeply, you don't know what to do with all this. And so you're kind of off your rocker. Because again, you may not understand why you feel all these things because you haven't gotten a birth chart reading and you don't know that that's just in your DNA. And so you haven't embraced that and try to figure out how to make this a positive thing. So you can be kind of like imbalanced, like so swinging from one end of the pendulum to the next. It's kind of like heat off or on. There is no in between. If it's off, it's cold. And if it's on, it's like completely like fiery. Okay, so again, like going into, I'm not going to go into everything because I will link this below as well as far as like more aspects, but that's like the overall gist of it all. So now I'm going to talk about like what it is for a woman in this aspect. So again, if you are a woman, right, so you're already like in touch with your feminine side, right? Traditionally, that's how it is. And then you have your moon, divine feminine in astrology, right? Square with Pluto. Can you imagine? It's kind of like Mama Yamaya, the Orisha, who is like the ocean, where it's like her love is so deeply, right? So it's like she could be peaceful and calm one moment and can take out a whole city, town, island in the next moment if you rock her boat, like if you rock that water, right? So that's exactly what it's like. You feel everything so deeply and on an intense level, and you're rarely ever like shallow in your feelings. Like, so you pretty much your intensity is just so high that it can stimulate like compulsive or obsessive levels of behavior, because again, it's just like you just feel so deeply. So think about like something that feels really good in the most intense way. And you're probably like, well, no, like it's about balance, like just chill, like you don't have to do all that. No, think about like having ice cream in front of you and you overindulging. Think about you enjoying your nice new sports car and you driving as fast as you possibly can around a curve like it's nothing. Like that is exactly what it is like to feel like as a woman with this as your aspect. So again, this energy also can be very, very healing because of the fact that you have the capability of penetrating into the depths of hurt, and so that allows you to release those blocks. So again, just like I said, like water is what created the Grand Canyon, and it's absolutely beautiful and breathtaking. I've never been, but I've seen pictures. And so so like you're able to penetrate things in a way that can help carve and transform lives. So in your dating life, of course, men, or if you're also into the same sex as well, people in general may feel very uncomfortable around you because they feel very exposed, because you're able to penetrate them and trigger their vulnerabilities in a way that they've never experienced before. And so that can be kind of scary. But with that being said, in your close relationships, you have the tendency to transform people. And the tendency that you have to do that coming off from a place of, I know you, you're my friend, I love you, it can be quite dangerous because you're kind of taking control over other people's hurt and their pain, and you're not allowing them to heal in a way that's safe, right? Because again, if you're someone who is on drugs, for instance, you can't just get taken off of drugs because you go through withdrawals. And as you go through the withdrawals, if you're not properly in the right facility to handle that, you can relapse, or you can be in extreme detrimental pain, and it can be very unhealthy. So yeah, that's what we'll talk about as far as right now. I mean, there's so much more that I can go into. But what I will say is that regardless of any particulars of your early conditioning, you have the capability to heal old wounds within yourself with the same energy that was given to you in order for them to have caused you pain. So the same intensity that you had to feel the pain and whatever you've gone through is the same intensity that you have to heal yourself as well. So it's like this cycle. Like I just saw that, like, so I felt pain. That was one half of the circle. And then the other half of the circle, to make it a complete circle, is the healing portion of it, right? That's what I think about. So honestly, with this, I can see how it can be very frustrating and you don't know how to properly deal with it. So as someone who has this, what I think about is I think about social worker. I think about a probation officer. Those types of jobs don't seem very glamorous, but those people have gone through some deep stuff because they've hurt people in ways that are very deep, and they need that same level of intensity to get healed, right? So I think about something along those lines. And even if it's not those two things, that may spark something in your mind as far as like, well, what could it be also? Like some type of deep work that may not be glamorous, because honestly, feeling this type of stuff is not glamorous either. And this comes from a very deep place. And so those people who have gone through some real stuff, they can only be healed by that same energy. And that's why I say, like, sometimes you have to meet people where they're at. And that's how you'll get their attention. And so oftentimes that's the reason why people who have committed crimes go back into the jail system and they do motivational speaking and all that, because they know how to connect with certain people in a way that me, an airy, fairy, love and light type of person, couldn't. And that's just keeping it real. That's the reason why we have so many different spiritual healers and teachers out there, because they're able to connect with different people based on their life circumstance. So yes, if you have made it to the end of this video and you are not a moon square Pluto, thank you. And if you are a moon square Pluto and you want to have more of a conversation and you like to get more of a personalized birth chart reading, then definitely hit your girl up. I will put the link below to my Etsy shop for my listing. Again, do all the YouTube housekeeping. Like this video, share it, comment below your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Welcome, join the tribe. And until next time, folks, namaste.